Yeah, Monday. What's up, everybody? Monday morning. Hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I'm your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Let's go ahead and take a look at our major markets from an educational perspective, with futures a bit mixed, a bit flat this morning. Not a whole lot of major movement. Do me a favor, leave a comment section down below. What do you think this week's going to bring after we saw a rally last week and then a little bit of a drop? Leave me a comment down below. Love to hear from everybody who's watching today's video. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So starting first with the S&P. So looking at the ES, we are sitting down about 3 points. I will say last night, we talked about the fact that if you were super, super aggressive, we had a live trade room last night at tradersarmy.com. We said if you're super aggressive, you can take a little bit of a breakdown. And we got a little breakdown, but then it kind of came right back. I mean, it was just not a great trading opportunity. The breakdown was not effective. Nothing really happened on that breakdown. We did also get a little bit of a move away from this pivot, but once again, not a whole lot of big movement. This is tough trading, right? It's tough sledding when we see these sideways price actions like this. Now, technically on a 4-hour chart, we are still, showing a bit more weakness, and so a slightly more bearish bias, but our 15-minute level, the pivot didn't hold very well as a zone. We got one little move away, but this wick over wick I think is still very valid for today. I'm okay if you want to try the breakdown again below this level in here. We were, this was the more aggressive entry. It was up in here, but this down here is probably a little bit of a better area. So if you get short below the breakdown, although you do have a little bit of a wick over wick here. It's not a great one because it's a bit imbalanced, and that's kind of against the big picture trend. It may not be a bad idea today to just remember that discretion can be the better part of valor and just hold off and not necessarily take a whole bunch of trades. The NASDAQ, we did see a break off of what turned into a pretty decent little level. The wick over wick area here in the NASDAQ actually held up really well, got a really nice move away. And so that area now has to be DTM. This, once again, if you were looking for the aggressive breakdown trade, that did not hold through at all. And ones that we talked about last, that's the more aggressive trade. It did not hold a candle, if you will, just poking below and then rallying up almost immediately afterwards. But now just kind of going sideways. And so I think that in both of these cases, probably the best thing to do is to wait for a definitive direction to be chosen. Let the market give you a good setup. And right now, in either one of these markets, I'm not getting a truly great setup. In the Russell, we couldn't find really anything last night of consequence worth trading. And so same thing goes as well for the Russell. So really not a whole lot of great setups today in the equity markets. Don't force them, just be patient. When I look at crude oil, we're in that $90 kind of supply area, but we're still, that $90 supply area can eventually lead to a pullback, but we did get a little pullback into a decent area of demand that actually just hit in the overnight, and we're starting to get a little rally out of that. So if you were to be long in here right now, I wouldn't be mad at you. Move your stop up to just below this pivot low if you wanted to get in and allow price to continue to run, because I think that's probably the better opportunity. But what I'm looking for this week on a bigger picture scale is more of a weekly chart reversal. That would be kind of the better setup. Now, where am I shorting? I'm not shorting as of yet. I would need some sort of a breakdown to give me a shorting opportunity when I've got such a very strong upward trend. Looking at that level, if we bounce off that level, get a little run, that's great. If not, you got a really nice level down here at 88.90. Gold, we're sitting below a potential breakout trade. We came close to it last night, pulled away, and now we're basing right below there. So I think that is still a little breakout for a day trade opportunity up to this area of supply. So from 18.15 to 18.21, I think you can get a nice little scalp on the in the gold markets. Natural gas last night. We did have a gap and go scenario in nat gas. The gap and go is still at play. For those of you that are willing to take the gap and go trade, it did gap into a 4-hour area of demand. So gapping into this 4-hour area of demand is certainly something that we need to pay attention to, but not enough yet that has retraced back into our gap fill area. So the gap and go is still a play. If you want to get low below the first candle's low, that's still an acceptable entry on this position. Taking a look at some of our currencies right quick. So in the euro, we do have a huge speed candle move up down here. We do believe that those speed candles typically tend to get retraced, and I would anticipate the retracement coming back to this level at some point. Maybe not early this week, but when it does, oftentimes those become really good buying opportunities. Now we are sitting above what could become a breakdown. If price breaks below here, you've got a little bit of noise in here to the left, but it would make for a decent little trap area. But I think you've got a little scalp on a breakdown if we get basing. If you don't get basing, then I think you could actually break below here and reverse and come back up. Looking at some of our other currencies, we are closing in on the Japanese yen supply area. So for those of you that are looking to get short on this pivot, we are closing in on this pivot area right there. If you take that one, your first target's going to be the opposing supply, opposing demand, which is right down in here. On our 4-hour for the yen, we are seeing that we do still technically have lower swing lows and lower swing highs, and so we could see a reversal off of this level. Looking very quickly at our cryptos, we talked about the fact that Bitcoin and Ether are both showing some bottoming signs. We looked at this area here for a breakout. We didn't get any basing for that breakout. But now, looking at this, we do have a couple of gap areas to pay attention to on a pullback into this region. I will say the breakouts are probably going to be the better way to go at this point. Not sure if we're going to get a pullback into here. But Ether also gives us the gap fill area here for a pullback. Now remember, these gaps exist on the futures markets. They may not exist on the actual Bitcoin or Ethereum trade themselves, so just keep that in mind also. That's pretty much all I have for today. I'm going to take a look at some stocks overnight tonight or this afternoon and see what I can find, and then tomorrow we can have a good discussion around stock opportunities. But until tomorrow, everybody, I hope you guys have a great day. I will see ya. Hey, thanks for joining us. If you like what we do, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's the only way the computers know that you're actually alive and really care. And go to tradersarmy.com today to learn a bit more. And if you want to see some of our other videos, click here in the box.